Oh boy.
Oh God.
I don't know what my only crime is being happy. That's all I did.
I hate you. Holy shit, Danny.
Who talks first? Do you talk first or do I talk first?
I feel like we should have talked about this beforehand, but
Yeah,
now that we're
right.
here, I guess let's figure it out.
Rocks,
I
paper,
feel
scissors.
like okay. On rock, paper,
2 out of
scissors,
3?
shoot, right?
Yeah,
No,
of
just
course,
one and done.
One and done.
Okay. You could announce it.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot.
Okay, fair enough. We both had scissors. Of course, we're wrestling fans. We both had scissors. Makes perfect sense. Well, what's up, producer boy? You're muted, by the way. You have a cat, but you're muted. It's adorable.
I was going to say Weasley should introduce the show first, but Weasley's going to fuck me up. Okay, never mind.
Oh, my God. All right. Is there a cat tree right behind you? Like, what? That was...
He came, he went, he saw, he conquered. I think you should, because you look like you should be leading something.
That's fair. Hi, hey, hello. Welcome to a Market Down production. My name is Skibbo. I am joined by Jasant, and we are going to talk about AEW Dynamite, the post-Full Gear show, the beginning of the Continental Classic, which is a tournament, by the way. Shock, surprise, horror. Yeah, that's pretty much it. How are you? How are you, Jasant? How you doing?
By the way, Skibbo and Jasant totally sounds like a late night radio show, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're on the air with Skibbo and Jasant, and then we play a sound effect.
Yeah.
Which I've been asking for a soundboard for so long. I want one on the show badly.
You've been very patient.
I will derail this show so much more with the fucking soundboard. And
I think that's why we haven't given it to you yet. But I'm basically being held together by gum, glue, duct tape, and rubber bands. But up here, also broken. So we're just doing good.
I mean, body-wise, slightly broken. I'm incredibly tired. I have constant bags in my eyes. It's like 10:30 and I'm drinking coffee so I can do this. But mentally, I exist.
What more could we ask for, really?
I really don't know. If you're here, I don't know why, but welcome. We're going to talk about Dynamite. And I introduced the show, but you can actually like run us through what happened because I didn't take notes despite my professional look.
That's amazing because neither did I. I know we had a tournament tonight. I mean, I know everything that happened. I just don't remember the order in which.
We started with actually, I enjoyed this. We started with Swerve versus Jay Lethal.
Yes, and that was a great match. I really enjoyed it.
It was a great match. One thing I always forget this with Jay because sometimes I take him for granted, because he's had that time period of being on AEW television where you just know he's there to have a good match but lose and then fuck off. So like sometimes I take it for granted, but like he has great facial expressions. Before this match even got underway, just the look he gave when the crowd started cheering for Swerve and just him just through his facial expressions alone being like, okay, this is what I'm in for tonight. Here we go. And then him and Swerve gave each other a knowing look and this match got underway. And I thought it was a lot of fun. I have a lot of gripes with the tournament members coming off of the pay-per-view. Like I don't get not that I don't get what this tournament is, but I don't get what it is in the sense that I'm not sure who this is going to help.
I get that. So hearing more about it and listening to what they're trying to define as the prestige of this tournament, they're trying to recreate the Triple Crown accomplishment from I believe the what was it, the late 90s, was it?
I thought, yeah, maybe. I thought
Yeah.
late 80s, late 90s, one of the.
Yeah, from a bygone era.
Yeah.
And I get that. Tony Khan, if there's anybody who's going to do it, it's going to be Tony Khan. He is a wrestling historian, Mark. He loves that stuff, and he likes to honor tradition in a lot of way. I think it's a pretty convoluted way in which they did it.
Ooh, yeah.
They didn't necessarily have both of Eddie Kingston's titles on the line here. I think there could have been a more natural way we got here, but I'm fine with it for the most part. I don't think there's going to be a third championship. I think that's been confirmed. There's no actual third championship being introduced here. It's just
Well, I mean, there's a new belt.
but I think it's a new belt in the same sense of like the Owen. I think it's a belt, but I don't think it's going to be a championship that's going to be defended.
Wouldn't it be defended in all three promotions because it's acknowledged by all three promotions?
I guess, but then how does that work? Like, are all three of them going to be one new championship?
Maybe.
Or is somebody going to be just have three championships that he's going to have to defend amongst three different companies?
I think it's going to have the one belt, the new belt, and then that can be defended in any of the three promotions, which it sounds cool on paper, but ROH titles are defended on AEW television all the time, so it kind of means nothing.
If they get a little stricter with it, I'm cool. But as of right now, if this was a different
time, that'd be cool.
Exactly. I get it. The Japanese, to go off what Eric's comment is, the Japanese title becoming nothing. Truth be told, once the show ended, it kind of did become nothing anyway. I'm glad that Eddie has two belts on his shoulders, but it's for a show that no longer exists. But focusing on now and the positives of the tournament, I really enjoyed this matchup, first of all. Second of all, it's showing me that there are a lot of interesting and fresh matchups that AEW still has to offer us. And as much as you and I are both exhausted by the concept of tournaments right now.
And just exhausted in general.
Yeah. One tends to follow the other. I am excited at this aspect of seeing some very exciting matchups that I don't think AEW could have naturally given us otherwise. I mean,
I kind of agree with that, but I don't think you can say that in good faith when we just have matches for the sake of it.
Danny, do you recognize, though, that we live in a world where we're going to get that dream match of Bryan Danielson versus Andrade again this Saturday? That dream match that we were just given a couple of weeks ago on Collision is the first round matchup for Bryan and Andrade.
And it's happening again on Collision.
Yeah.
Just like put it on the show that at least like 3 times as many people watch.
And it's on a Collision that is also competing against the WWE pay-per-view.
Oh God. And one that I'm actually kind of excited for too, which is,
I mean, admittedly, how excited were you to watch an Andrade match? Yes, it's Bryan, but you wouldn't have had your heart in it with Andrade.
Yeah, that's true. But, knowing that it's Bryan, Andrade can actually be the good wrestler that everyone thinks he is. It's like, that's at least interesting. But yeah, it's kind of hard, and we're already we don't want to be super down on it, but like you said, we're a little tournament out. We're a little down on it. Swerve Russian Briscoe.
I want to get into that in a second. I do want to get into that. The other thing I really, just going off of this first matchup, Swerve is so ridiculously over. And that's not a shock. He was over at the pay-per-view.
He's just been over. He's been over for months now.
But he's over despite all of these incredibly heelish things he's doing. Going against a largely beloved babyface in Hangman. And the crowd was still very pro-Swerve. Not that they were anti-Hangman, but they were also very largely pro-Swerve. And they were cheering the shit out of him tonight, which isn't shocking.
The important thing here is that he is not playing up to it.
Oh, no.
He's not changing for it. He is a heel. The crowd just happens to cheer him. He doesn't acknowledge it. He's still going to be the worst person on the planet or at least give the worst person on the planet a run for their money. And he's gonna do.
I know who you're thinking of.
It's crazy. AEW is actually really good at making some of the worst people on the planet, but he's not leading it into it, which is why one of the key reasons I think that is important is because, well, one, he's only being cheered because the crowd has just realized that it's his time. Like, he is undeniable at this point, and it's great to see. And hey, I was never a huge Swerve guy, but like, I can't deny how great he is and like how great of a role he's on right now. So the crowd has reached that point. Him not acknowledging is key because I said it to you guys earlier, but I think he's right now, he's got to be the number one guy in contention to beat MJF. So if he is on a similar path where the crowd is getting behind him despite him being a fucking piece of shit, but he doesn't play up to it, that's going to make his feud with MJF so much better.
I agree.
Because then they're both so similar, but they at one key moment, they took different paths. MJF embraced the adulation from the crowd, and Swerve doesn't deny it, but doesn't acknowledge it either.
He doesn't really embrace important. It. Yeah, he doesn't embrace
Nana
it.
does the dance. Swerve never breaks character. Swerve is always straight-faced, serious. Nana is a silly one that will play off the crowd and get the reactions. Shout out to Nana. He's our guy. We haven't done anything with the favor he's done for us, but he did us a favor. But shout out to him.
Yep.
So it's just really cool. And normally, I like this match because it made me get into it despite the obvious winner, being obvious, and knowing that Jay is just a guy who's in this tournament to lose, like to the bigger guys in it. And there's a lot of guys in this tournament that are in that position, which is one of the many problems I have with the tournament.
Oh,
but
really?
like, you need
I
those.
like it, actually. I like it.
It just, I don't know. It makes everything more. I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather have oh shit, like some of these guys gotta lose a few times. Like, I'd rather have it all like mid card and up guys who have like, a lot of wins and credibility on TV. And then a couple of no names. And just to compare real quick to something that is not really comparable, but in the women's War Games match, you have 7 stars and Shotzi. And that's not a knock on Shotzi. That is not. I like Shotzi. The match would be, because fans are dumb. And fans are like, oh, Becky being in the match makes no sense. And granted, storyline wise, it's not like the best logic, but you put stars in the match. You don't put another lower card person because then the match is less exciting. Now you have that, and now if Shotzi does well, she looks great because she did well in a match filled with stars. So same thing with this tournament. If you have this tournament and you don't have a fucking Daniel Garcia in there, no offense, you're super over, you're great, but you're gonna lose a bunch, and you're gonna have that one shock win, and it's gonna like whatever. Let's say he's the one guy, but like you don't have a whole bunch of guys like that, and he looks better for it. Like I would have less. I wouldn't have. I mean, and this is nitpicking here, but there's just guys I wouldn't have in here. And Jay Lethal, unfortunately, isn't one of them, or at least he would be one of the guys where I'm like, okay, he could be in it to lose, but then you can't have some of these other guys. A lot of these guys are guys that I wouldn't mind if they were one of 2 guys, and
I get what you're saying, but so one of the things we need to acknowledge is that this Continental Classic is very clearly based off of New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 tournament. It is a round-robin tournament that determines their number 1 contender that goes into their biggest pay-per-view of the year, Wrestle Kingdom.
I wish that was the part they copied the most instead of the Triple Crown shit, but all right.
I completely agree. But it's very clear that they're taking inspiration from that tournament, and that tournament is the most respected tournament in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
More so than the King of the Ring, more than anything. So
Did you just struggle to think of another
no,
tournament?
like there are others, but it's not even worth saying. Like the Battle of Los Angeles, like the Super 8 tournament and all that. There are other tournaments that are worthwhile, but the WWE one is going to be the most recognizable one. But regardless of that, that tournament is full of the company's biggest stars and typically two jobbers. It's typically either Toru Yano or Bad Luck Fale. And I never look at those losses as crippling unless they're designed to be. Now, granted, New Japan is booked very differently than AEW, so it's not entirely fair to judge them the same way. But I don't look at Jon Moxley's first G1, where he had a pretty good record and then got his first loss in the company to Toru Yano, as what the fuck are they doing with this booking? I want these tournaments that are designed to highlight the best of the best to actually have the best of the best in it. We've had AEW tournaments before, specifically AEW tournaments before, where they have mid-carders that don't make sense. When they had the tournament that Samoa Joe won to go face MJF at
Grand Slam, the show we were at.
Yeah, it's a lot in New York now. I'm loving it, but it's a lot. I was saying, why the fuck is Jeff Hardy here? There were many guys. There were so many guys in that tournament that didn't belong. That it was a foregone conclusion that Joe would win. Roderick Strong, what the hell has he been doing? Nothing. So
I think at that point Roderick Strong was doing stuff, and he was
still in the next leg.
Yeah, which is why he was like the second most likely to win. He's a bad example, but I get your point.
Yeah. My point being, I'd rather see a tournament where I legitimately don't know who could win because the star power is so there than a tournament where it's just like, okay, obviously it's going to be this guy, or I don't care who wins because I don't believe any of you guys should be in the tournament. So
I feel like you've been arguing my point this whole time.
Maybe we are. Maybe like you Jedi mind tricked me. I know you don't know what that means, but like maybe you did. But my point being, I enjoy the fact that this tournament is so stacked.
I know it means I accepted you.
Damn, I like that movie too. I
never seen it.
I fucking bet. I like the fact that this tournament is as stacked as it is because I don't know. Like what? Swerve should win, but are they going to make Swerve the Ring of Honor champion? Are Bryan Danielson like? Why not Bryan Danielson? There are so many reasons to be excited for this, and I think the star power adds to it. There are going to be losses that piss us off. I'm upset with a little bit of how tonight was booked, even though none of it was shocking. To go into it, this first matchup, Swerve won, defeating Jay Lethal, as he should, as Swerve should win. If the only nitpick I have is I feel like he should have sold being hurt a little bit more from the match with Hangman this past Saturday. But beyond that, of course, Swerve should go over Jay Lethal. And granted, they did have a nice competitive back and forth match. And I won't lie to you, Swerve felt like a friggin' superhero hitting his finisher from the top rope on the Jay Lethal as Jay is looking at him helplessly, and the crowd is just cheering as Swerve soars in the sky. Like, that was a great moment. That felt big. That felt like a good way to start the tournament. And I'll get into the other matches as we get there, but I think for as tournament out as we are, I think this tournament is going to be a blessing in disguise. And I think more people are going to get over, despite probably taking losses that we're not going to be thrilled with in the moment.
I mean, I agree with most of what you're saying. I just wish like more stacked names. Why isn't Miro in this? Why isn't Malachi in this? Why isn't Hobbs in this? Why, like?
So who would you take out going into this tournament? So this tournament that has Bryan Danielson,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up all the competitors.
Yeah,
now.
pull up all the names. I was gonna do that too, and then I didn't. If only we had a producer that could have done that in
Right.
the interim, but it's fine. He's looking at like pizza
Right.
dog memes in
All
the
right.
meantime.
So in one bracket in the blue league, we have Brian Danielson, Andrade Alidolo,
Take him
Eddie
out.
Kingston,
Okay,
Brody King,
keep him.
Claudio Castagnoli,
Obviously,
and Daniel
keep him.
Garcia.
Take him out. That's 2 gone right there.
In the other league, you have in the gold league, you have John Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Roosh,
Take him
Mark
out.
Briscoe, Jay Lethal, Jay White. So this is what I'm going to say. I know you said to take Roosh out. Roosh is over. He's over in the way they wish Andrade was over. You're not a big fan of him, and I don't like him that much either. He is over, and he brings it in his matches. He does, he wrestles a very strong style that appeals to a segment of the fan base. So I get him being there. Especially he's a heel. You do need some heel, although that bracket is kind of heel heavy. Yeah, that bracket is heel heavy. Swerve, Roosh, Lethal, and White.
Yeah.
That is
to be honest,
heavy.
I wouldn't have White in this.
Really?
I think I think he needs some time away, or he needs to come back.
You're late.
Changed.
You're late. You're late.
Thanks, bud. You could take out both Jays, honestly. But I like Lethal, so I don't want to take him out. But
yeah.
I think Briscoe is the best person to be the guy who takes the most losses, because you're just gonna like him no matter what, and you're still gonna root for him and just hope that it's like he goes 1-5, you cherish that one win. You're like, fuck yeah, that made it all worth it.
Yeah.
Whereas Jay White winning matches, what do I care? What difference does that make anymore?
I get what you're saying. So your argument, which I think we're both having an issue with how we feel about this. We appreciate that there are big names. We would have changed the big names.
Well, I would have just added more big names. I would have changed.
So you would have made the tournament bigger?
No, I would have taken some of the guys out and just added more big names. I would get rid of if we pull it back, I would get rid of, because I don't think Roosh is a big name. I think he's a mid-carder at best. And I get it. When he's presented strongly in his matches, but he never wins them. I would have guys that win their matches on TV, more.
And that's fair. But
that's why I would say put a Miro and put a Hobbs in, put guys that are bro, they can't have these guys lose that much, because then you actually have the tension of what's gonna happen every round, because in theory all of these guys are strong and protected and need wins or usually win, and I would just and then have you have your Mark Briscoe in one bracket, and I guess you could have Danny Garcia in the other bracket, or whoever, I forgot who else was fodder on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
But
but so before, though, you said that you need those sort of guys to take the losses. So you
you only need one or two. You don't need the fucking half the tournament to be guys who are just there to lose.
I think we're gonna see guys getting wins that are gonna be a little surprising.
But I think we probably will, but it's also, is it worth it? I'd rather let's say Roosh beats someone above him on the card. I can't think of any scenario where I wouldn't rather have that be Hobbs or Miro.
I understand
Malachi or someone.
I think the reality is the Don Callis story, for Hobbs at least, the Don Callis storyline isn't over. So that's guys who are involved in storylines are going to stay in storylines. But I don't know. Going through this list, the Gold League, I see Moxley going over Roosh. I see Moxley going over Lethal. Moxley versus White could go either way.
No, 100% Mox wins and then Swerve beats Mox. I think
Swerve beats Mox too, but that means then that Mox only took one loss. So does Mox win that part of the bracket?
No, I think Swerve would. I don't think Swerve loses. Who beats Swerve? Because it's either Mox or
Yeah.
Swerve on that side. Because you either go
Man,
Mox
this
versus
could be
Kingston.
this could be a whole video, by the way, for the channel.
Yeah, it really could.
Brian goes over, in my opinion, Andrade. I think Eddie goes over Brian.
I think so too, because I think there's a good chance Eddie's in the finals as well.
Yeah.
Because if you do Eddie versus Mox, awesome. If you do Eddie versus Swerve, what the fuck? I'll take that. I didn't know
Yeah,
I
that
wanted
would be
that until we
amazing.
just saying it right now, and I'm like, oh fuck, that's
See, but here's the worst part about it. I don't want Swerve to win the whole fucking thing. Because I want him to just go to the AEW world title. I don't want him to fucking deal with these other belts.
right. But we don't have to watch that, you know. We'll never see it. I assume.
But that's the point. Even if we don't see it, he's gonna be too busy doing it to go for the world title.
Well, Revolution's a long way away.
I guess that's true. I don't know. I personally think they booked themselves a little bit into a corner, but I'm going to enjoy the matchups along the way. That's how I feel. And I enjoyed this matchup. You had these two guys who are very smart wrestlers. Their characters wrestle smart matches, and they were trying to exploit each other's injuries from previous matchups. But I think they could have done a better job of selling Swerve having gone through a war with Hangman at the pay-per-view. But I did think this was a great match, and now that James mentioned it, it's got to be Swerve winning the whole thing. Maybe.
Which is why this should have been a number one contenders thing. You know?
Yeah, I would have. If that's the case, absolutely, Swerve should win it. Go right on to MJF after this. But considering it's not, I don't want it to be Swerve who wins. I want it to be somebody who, being this Triple Crown champion, could be their thing. I don't want it to be Swerve's thing. I want Swerve's thing to be AEW champion. So it's a weirdly timed tournament that I'm excited for. I'm excited to watch, but I'm not excited for the ending.
Yeah. But I think we should move on. We spent a lot of time,
but
we mostly talked about the tournament. So
and did you like the matchup?
Oh yeah, I thought it was a really fun match. It's a great combination of guys. Like I said, it was one of those times where it made me realize how much I appreciate Jay Lethal wrestling, and I was very, very into it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that about Swerve selling, but I also just feel like I wouldn't have had this match yet. I would have had the other block start, you know.
I understand though that they recognized Swerve was the most over guy from the pay-per-view and they wanted to have him on TV.
Yeah, you could have had it just a segment. You know, they could have had the same way MJF always has those killer pre-taped promos from right after the match.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Could have done something like that.
They could
have had Hangman being loaded into an ambulance and then Swerve closing the door and then talking to the camera for 2 minutes after. Something like that. And it would have been like, holy shit, bro. Who's going to beat this guy in the fucking tournament? You know, would have built that. But anyway, we'll come back to the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on. We had a promo where we thought AEW World Champion, the rightful AEW World Champion, MJF, was going to come out, and he did. But he came out with his Better Than You Bebe tag team partner, Adam Cole. They come out to the ring. They have both of their music playing. Their Better Than You Bebe music playing. Adam Cole obviously on crutches, but MJF walking with a cane. Him selling the results of his feud, his matchups that night at the pay-per-view, having had his leg taken out by the Bullet Club. All three healthy members, R.I.P. Juice. But yeah, they have a little bit of banter. MJF talks about, he acknowledges the devil. He says he's coming for the devil. He's going to figure out who he is. And then he's going to make it his goal to take him out. And that's when the devil himself appears on the screen and maniacally, like a comic book villain, laughs. That is then interrupted, or I guess as that ends, Samoa Joe's music hits, and Samoa Joe comes out to the ring. Joe,
can I just say this was a little bit of nice staging because the devil was on screen, he laughs, and it cuts back, and Joe's music plays, but the beginning of Joe's Titantron is fire.
Yeah.
It was a very nice visual touch right there. I
They
appreciate
they
it.
knew what they were doing. What up, Dev? How you doing, bud? Good to have you here tonight. Mr. Penguin, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed Dynamite tonight. And if you didn't, don't worry, strap in. We got you covered. We'll be talking about it. But yeah, Samoa Joe comes out and he tells MJ. What did he tell MJF? That he thinks he's tried to screw him out of his title shot?
No, he came out to ensure that MJF was a man of honor and a man of his word, and was going to give him his title shot.
Yep. And MJF is, I don't want to say reluctant, but he's not thrilled at the aspect of having to have this match. It's very possible.
I really hope so. I
want it on the record. I think I was the first person on the pod to pitch this concept. And I know I'm not the only one. I know the internet is abuzz with it, but I'm proud of myself for being in the loop on this rumor.
Look, there's only two people I accept being the devil, and it's Britt Baker and CM Punk. And everything else is a disappointment. Jungle Boy, I'll kill myself. If it's MJF with split personality, I don't like that. If it's Adam Cole, fine.
Yeah, I don't want it to be Cole because it just feels so friggin' obvious.
Yeah, but let's get back on track real quick.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
Joe's like, "Are you a man of honor? You're gonna keep your word and give me my title shot."
And MJF, he's not thrilled at the aspect of it. He doesn't really want to do it, but he's convinced by his bro Chacho for life, Adam Cole, to be a man of honor, be a man of his word. He promised he would give him this title shot, so he should. MJF agrees, and World's End's main event is set as Samoa Joe will challenge one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, the AEW World Champion MJF, in his hometown of Long Island for the AEW World Championship. Matt Riddle, he is a demon. I don't know that he's the devil, though.
I'd take him over Jungle Boy, though. I'll take Dolph Ziggler over Jungle Boy. I'll take Mustafa Ali over Jungle Boy and Adam. I'll put Mustafa Ali as third behind Punk on my list of people I would like to be the devil.
And I know you're not even really joking. I know you.
No, I'm not joking at all. Yeah,
yeah.
If there's anyone I trust to handle that creative way, it's Mustafa Ali. But I really wish, because I like this segment a lot. I think Joe is so fucking cool, and Joe is just the best at like intangibles, sorts of things. Like he knows how to look, and he just always has an aura about him, and everything he says sounds credible. And I just really wish we hadn't seen this match in person. Funny enough.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I wish that this didn't feel a little bit like a rehash because
we're probably going to go to this show too, and we're going to get the same exact main event as like 2 months ago when we went to a show. Like,
and I'm more or less convinced that I've seen a lot of people say Joe has a shot. I don't think there's any reality where Samoa Joe is the guy who takes the title off MJF. First of all, unless they really segue into a long feud with MJF and the Devil, I just don't see it. But beyond that, just to lead to what you said about the things Joe says and how he comes across, MJF offered to have the match tonight. He wanted to wrestle him in Chicago. As producer boy pointed out, MJF got in a nice dig at somebody, I won't say who, but about not being the only ROH legend that he's beaten in Chicago twice. So I love that little nod, and I love Joe saying, no. I don't want you tonight. I don't want there to be excuses. I don't want there to be anything. I want to get you at your best. I want to get you when you say you're at your best, and I want to know that I can beat you then. That's what makes Joe such an awesome heel. He is 100% not above doing something dirty, but he likes the challenge as well. So I really like that. And I'll be honest with you, I am shocked he didn't choke out Adam Cole. I really thought that was happening. But
right, like when Cole was facing MJF and had his back turned to Joe, and he's talking about this guy choked me out so many times. I thought Joe was gonna be like, that's not a bad idea. Let me just real quick.
And I do want
to that basketball player. I don't know his name. I'm sure Rev does, but he's not fucking here because he doesn't care about you guys. But
and I do want to acknowledge the fact I don't know that Adam Cole is the devil, but those clues of Adam Cole maybe screwing MJF around are building up. There were multiple instances in the match with Jay White where Cole almost screwed MJF, either unintentionally or intentionally, handing the championship to Jay White to hit MJF with, putting the diamond ring on the mat for Jay White to pick up. There were several instances that were eyebrow raising, and Adam Cole admitting Samoa Joe is one of the toughest opponents he's ever wrestled and being very pro MJF taking him on. So that either these are a bunch of red herrings and they are playing us very well, or this is right in front of our noses and we just don't want to accept the truth. So either way, compelling.
I want to address the last thing Producer Boy put on screen. What are you talking about? MJF putting up stinkers on pay-per-views? What? Makes no sense.
Ooh. He's had one stinker pay-per-view match, in my opinion, and it was his Forbidden Door. It was his Forbidden Door match against Tanahashi, and I blame Tanahashi more than I blame MJF.
Yeah, and then Mr. Penguin, CM Punk being the devil would be fire, but he'll be at Survivor Series. He's going to be at both. He's going to be at both. What do you...
Knock off the board.
Yeah, I don't get what stinker. Like, he doesn't put on stinkers.
He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't.
Yeah, CM Punk's going to be at both. He's going to be at Survivor Series this Saturday. Even though there's no spot for him on the card, he's going to be there. He will show up guaranteed, and then he will also be revealed as the devil.
Yeah.
He's pulling double duty.
He's going to wrestle as the devil at Survivor Series, but show up as CM Punk in AEW.
Yeah.
That'll be it. But
and then sorry, Mr. Penguin's other Tony Khan as the devil would not be interesting. It would actually be I think we learned, this is one where we can just learn from history once and we don't need to.
It was me, Max. It was me all along. I've already seen the higher power. I'm good.
We don't need to repeat certain history, it's cool to pay homage to the past, but not in that case. I would say, especially because Tony Khan struggles to form complete sentences.
Blink. Moving on.
But yeah, I thought it was a good segment. I really liked everything Joe did here. I just wish we hadn't seen the match already. This would be so much cooler. But it's this is not what weirdly enough, I'd rather have the MJF Wardlow match on the pay-per-view and have the Joe MJF match at like Winter's Coming or whatever. Why is the TV main event now the pay-per-view main event? That's a little weird to me, but like the feud is so good. It's nothing against the feud and the story. The story is fantastic. It's just
and admittedly, they do treat their special episodes like pay-per-views. Grand Slam might as well be a pay-per-view. It's just they put it on TV. So I don't think that for me is as much the issue as just as it's happening too close to each other in the same market, in the same town. That bothers me more than anything.
I mean, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. But yes, we then go to a backstage segment where Orange Cassidy, the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy, his tag team partners for the night, FTW Champion Hook, and Ring of Honor Pure Champion Shibata, are being interviewed by Renee Paquette, the remarkable Renee Paquette. And Orange has an announcement he wants to make, but he's interrupted by that shitty little bastard Wheeler Yuta, who mocks Orange Cassidy for all it took to defeat Moxley at the pay-per-view this last Saturday, and then mocks Hook, his young boy, as he called him. And he also had strong words for Shibata, the man who very soundly and cleanly defeated him for that Ring of Honor Pure Championship. As Yuta walks off, Orange said that he had an announcement he wanted to make, but Renee makes it clear they ran out of time. So as the match is getting underway, they are wrestling the Jericho Appreciation Society, made up of non-Jericho appreciators. Jake Hager, and 2.0, or whatever they call themselves nowadays. But as the match is about to go underway, we are greeted by Orange Cassidy's announcement, his surprise. And it was a very nice, a very evil, and a very random surprise. It was Danhausen. And man, I really wish Rev was here to do the voice. But it happened. Danhausen is back. He has expressed a lot of disappointment with AEW on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it lately. But the man who got himself a job with AEW through social media, and also very much felt like the man who was getting himself out of a job thanks to social media, made it back to TV after a few weeks of teases and surprises and promises. But the match itself.
Well, I want to say I think it's fitting that he came back in Chicago because, I don't think there's a more pro CM Punk guy in AEW than Danhausen, so he's almost adopted Chicago as his hometown. He's become one of them by proxy in that regard. CM Punk's going to return because he's the devil, but he was definitely there in the crowd just to watch his buddy Danhausen return,
Danhausen's going to be the actual devil. We all know it.
Doublehausen's way better than Jungle Boy.
Junglehausen, yeah. I hate that. No, I would find that to be hilarious. As long as the devil isn't Marty Scurll, I'm going to be okay with whoever it is.
Be honest, I hope they don't hire Marty Scurll, but
it would be good. He would
better,
be a good,
better than Jungle Boy,
Jungle Boy is anybody but you, Roman, for you, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Great moment, yeah.
I'd rather Chris Benoit than Jungle Boy. I just, was that the line for you? Was that or you just? It's hard to follow that. I understand. We gotta
I don't even.
All right, fine. Is Jimmy Snuka worse or better? I don't.
I'll take. I don't know. I mean, they both killed people.
Yeah, right. I know. But Jungle Boy sucks.
Jesus Christ. There are days when you say these things that I wish we had our old format where you can't see the people who aren't speaking because I don't want my face attached to that comment.
I don't want my face attached to that comment.
You made it. No! Oh my gosh. I'm choking. Oh man. That was terrible. This was all awful, and I would like to move on to the match. But the match itself, it happened. I think the bigger return than Danhausen, and I think you'll agree with me, was Danhausen was accompanied by that hat, Jake Hager's purple hat, making a return to television, distracting Hager and allowing the good guys to get the win. I'll be honest, I don't even really remember what was the finish. I'm pretty sure it was Hook hitting the red rum. But
I thought you were gonna say I don't remember the finish and then list it word for word. But yeah, so he had the red rum and then Shibata had sleeper, but they had it on the wrong guys because one of them was legal, one wasn't. So they swapped guys. And then while they did that, Cassidy hit the orange punch on Hager, who got on the apron. And then they brought him down to the mat and cool hand and tapped.
There you go. That'll do it. And that was the finish, and I'm just glad Orange Cassidy. Is Orange are they gonna go the heel route with Orange? What do you think?
No.
It really felt like we were getting there. Even after he won on Saturday, he acted a little bit like a dick. But
I think it's similar to when Mox pushed Hangman to that point where he just was like, "You're bringing me to a dark place, and I'm gonna do fucked up things to you. I'm gonna hang you."
But even after the match, we talked about this on the pod that night. Even after the match, when the ref handed him the belt, he did that heel thing of just give it to me.
Yeah, because there's the guy who repressed emotions for years and now is having trouble doing that. It's just his character's developing. It's not necessarily pointed towards a heel turn. It's just a guy who used to never care that now cares a lot, and he doesn't know how to properly handle and express that yet.
I guess that's a good way of looking at it. Time will tell, but hopefully, because I don't want Orange Cassidy to turn heel. But after the match, Renee Paquette is backstage, and she is with Adam Cole. And Adam Cole, who's still limping around. Honestly, man, just go to fucking physical therapy already. Stop limping. That's rude. But anyway, he's backstage with Renee. They're getting to talking about Samoa Joe when Adam! Roderick Strong and the Kingdom interrupts, and I really don't know how I feel about this gimmick still going. It was interesting the first couple of weeks, but it's really dragged on, in my opinion.
But this crowd proved that it's over.
No, I know it's over. It's just, I don't know. I'm tired of it. Or at the very least, I wish there was more progression. But regardless, Roderick tells Adam.
Just wait until Roderick Strong and Adam Copeland bump into each other backstage, and it'll all been worth it.
That's the culmination of all of this. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because him realizing there are other Adams on the roster, and he just only feuds with Adams. Adam Page, Adam Copeland. I'm sure there's other Adams I just can't think of, but that's already a lot. That's already a lot of Adams. That's months of programs for him.
Oh, God, they're feeding him good over there. But Roddy talks about not seeing him on Saturday. Sorry he missed him, but wondering where Adam was when he really needed him on Friday, as he was wrestling and he got dropped on his head. Cole is sick and tired of listening to Roddy, and he says it. He makes it clear to him, we're not best friends anymore. Get it through your head. And as he hobbles off, the Kingdom looks shocked, and Roddy, with a gigantic tear on his face and a broken heart in his chest, says he didn't mean that. And a broken freaking neck, not at the Olympics. Says he didn't mean that. I don't know where this is going. And granted, I do appreciate that this does feel, as much as it's connected to MJF, it does feel like it's an Adam Cole storyline. So I do appreciate that. But let's see where it goes. They made a lot of points tonight to reference how injured Adam Cole is, how hurt he is, and how he hasn't started physical therapy yet. Is this a red herring and he's actually coming along a lot quicker than we were hoping? Or they're just trying to project a much later recovery time, so when he does return at an earlier point, we're shocked by it? Or are they really just trying to get us used to the fact that it's going to be a while before Adam Cole is ready to go? Either way, they are spinning a yarn for us. Adam! Nick, hello.
I mean, that's going to be his first match back is going to be against Roddy whenever he is healed.
Hello, friend. Thank you for joining us here at the pod. Love you. Thank you for being here. Nifty, we both same minds. Nifty, you're fire. Dude or dudette, thank you. Moving on, we have what to me was the best segment of the night and the most interesting segment of the night. I want you to talk about it a little bit more than I do, but I'll set you up for it. Christian Cage comes out with his disciples, his children, Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus. Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus had a big match at the opening match at the pay-per-view this last Saturday in a losing effort to Adam Copeland, Darby Allin, and Sting. It was a fun match. Did you get to watch it, Danny?
No, that's the one thing I didn't see on the show. Actually, no, it's not true. I didn't see a lot. I didn't see the end of the show either. I did not see this match.
Is it hard? It's hard to watch AEW for you. There are lots of places you can watch it if you want. Most of them are online. Not all places that we can really hype up on the page, but go watch wrestling. Go watch wrestling. Father and son bonding, I see nothing more. But yeah, after this losing effort on Saturday, Christian is full of emotion. Danny, what did you think of the segment? Do you want to go over it, or do you want me to keep running it down? What do you want to do?
I guess I'll just start talking about it. This was a very interesting segment because, Christian basically said, "Hey, a good champion is like poignant." Here, JB, what up? Anyways, a good champion is noble in victory or whatever, and humble in defeat. And he's like, "But I didn't lose on Sunday." Nick, you didn't lose on Sunday. Luchasaurus, you lost on Sunday. And he just tears into Luchasaurus a little bit. It's like borderline animal abuse. And he says, "I have an idea. I'm gonna rechristen you guys and name you, in my name as your father." And he made Luchasaurus get down on one knee after berating him a little bit.
For
And he
being
said,
the loser of the match.
yes.
That
He's like,
Christian
Luchasaurus is a loser, so from here on out, you're supposed to be my finisher, so I'll name you such. You'll be known as Kill Switch. And then he turned to Nick, and he said, "Nick." And Nick,
who immediately goes
yes,
down on his knee.
which was very funny. Nice touch there. And then Christian said, "No, get up. Don't get down on your knee for anyone." And while his back is directly turned to Luchasaurus. Very nice stage and very nice frame. And he's like, basically, "You're perfect. You're the prodigy, Nick Wayne." Because he's going to be, he sees a lot of himself in him. And this was great. And then you see this woman coming down to the ring, and Christian just half off mic, but half on mic, is just like, "What is your mother doing here?" And then she's like, "No, don't don't do this, blah, blah, blah." And he's just like, "You're a bad mother, and I need you to get out of here. And, you're a waitress. You make X amount of money a year. You couldn't provide for him. Go back to Denny's. And it's a good thing that your husband's dead, because I was always a better wrestler than him anyway." Which, by the way, why can Christian talk about dead people and you freaking freak out when I do it? It makes no sense, but whatever.
I mean, I've had time to recover from seeing it. It's been an hour or so. The shock is worn off.
Okay.
He didn't murder anybody. At least maybe on the mic he did, but not physically.
Gotcha. Christian didn't murder anyone, or Buddy Wayne?
Christian. I don't
Yeah.
know Buddy Wayne enough to know.
And neither did I, but you still reacted that way. So I don't understand your logic there. But, he just lays into her. And interestingly enough, Luchasaurus gets up and stands between Christian and Nick Wayne's mom. I guess I don't want to comment whether she has it going on or not, but he stands between them, and it's very interesting. And the crowd gets behind Luchasaurus, and there's a rumbling. Like they're building tension. They're building to Luchasaurus turning back face and either standing up to Christian or being kicked out of the group. And I'm interested. I don't necessarily want this group to break up.
Yeah,
but
feels a little early.
I love Luchasaurus, so I'm very interested to see how this goes. I'm a fan. But it got a little goofy because Christian pushed Luchasaurus, who then knocked over Mrs. Wayne, who just full referee sold it. Yeah. But falling like a push, but then he made Nick go get chairs from under the ring, and they were gonna concerto her, which is just where the segment jumps the shark a little bit, and it's just that's an extreme escalation that didn't feel earned. I would say
natural.
Yeah, and then it led to Edge making a late ass save that would have never happened if Christian did it himself, but he made Luchasaurus go to do it, who hesitated. And then instead of having the moment of Luchasaurus not doing it. They had Edge run in and kind of undercut that a little bit and make a way too late save. And then Concerto Nick Wayne in front of his grieving mother.
After big booting Luchasaurus out of the ring and scaring Christian, or as he was about to hit Christian, Luchasaurus makes the save for Christian.
Yeah, so ultimately still being loyal to Christian
For
despite
now.
how he was just treated. Yeah. And then as Edge's, or as Mr. Copeland is gonna Concerto the Prodigy, we had that great visual of Christian on the ramp saying, "No, my son, that's my son."
My child.
You know, very Cedric Diggory.
I was thinking it too.
Yeah, that's I've seen that movie, surprisingly. But not the 6th or 5th one.
Okay.
But all the other ones.
Wait, so you watched 7 of 8 movies? You
No, I've
missed
watched
one
6
in the
of
middle?
8. No, I missed 5 and 6.
That's
Yeah, which I think are 2 of the more favorited ones.
no, one of them
not
is very
6. I think
forgettable.
5 is
yeah.
5 is a very liked one from what I can tell. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That person's a turf, but like,
That's true.
it really, the segment was a little all over the place. I didn't think the concerto spots were earned here. I think this needed to be amped up a little bit more. Like, I don't understand why Edge or Copeland really hates them that much at this point. None of this felt earned. Like, I think this could have been built to better, but I trust Christian. I trust Luchasaurus. And then I guess I trust Copeland a little bit too. He's earned some goodwill being here. So
I really want. I am talking some crazy, doesn't make sense storytelling right now, but I really want somehow Adam to get in charge of this group that will then in turn feel like a knockoff Judgment Day, where you have Luchasaurus in the Damian Priest role, you have Nick Wayne in the Dominic Mysterio role.
You bring in Beth Phoenix in the Rhea Ripley role.
In the Rhea Ripley role. And I don't know, fucking Kenny Omega to be Finn Balor for the Bullet Club.
You don't want Kenny to be Finn Balor, man. You don't want that.
When you're right, you're right. But no, I agree. This felt like it amped up out of nowhere. I feel that from a storyline perspective, they're going to sell it as Adam is just so pissed off with Christian that because the commentary did a good job, or they did their best, I should say, to say that Adam is just so mad right now. He doesn't even recognize that Wayne's mom is in the ring. He doesn't even know she's there. And I don't know where they go with this. I know Producer Boy said it in the comments that he thinks maybe she joins the dark side of this because that's her son who just got attacked.
Yeah, and I want her to get with Christian. Ultimately, I think that's what everyone wants. I
want Christian and Nick Wayne's mom to have an Edge and Lita live celebration. I think that's the payoff of this storyline.
I also want Beth to come in and then side with Christian too. I don't have the balls to do it, but you know.
Yeah. But the storyline is continuing. I'm with you. I'm not ready for this group to end. And if Luchasaurus leaves Christian and Wayne, they lose a lot of credibility in my mind. Because
the way absolutely I agree, but you just made me kind of realize something that maybe kind of works about this is that I think Edge got into. I'm sorry, Adam got into Christian's head, and because he said they're going to turn on you one day, and I'll be there to pick up the pieces when they do. But I'm just telling you now, they're going to turn on you, and that got in Christian's head, and he's pushing them away instead. Where he's pushing Luchasaurus away while trying to bring Nick closer because he doesn't want them to turn on him. So instead, he's bringing about his own downfall because of what Mr. Copeland said to him. So like that part of it maybe kind of works, and maybe I feel a little better about it now, but yeah, I'm still willing to give it a chance because I'm just happy that Copeland's here and
Yeah.
you know he seems to be having a good time, and that Christian just is the most consistent guy on the roster for the past fucking year now.
I'd say, if I'm going to be very honest with you, I think since the moment he debuted, he has been consistent for them. Whatever they needed of him, he's delivered.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just that what he's doing now is more
amazing.
than what he was doing then.
Yeah.
So,
which is crazy when you think about that he is the first person to give Kenny a loss in his belt collector reign.
Yeah.
So he's been killing it. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He is at his peak right now in AEW, if not for a very long time in general.
Yeah, but, I mean the best he's been since. I mean, it's not to say because he was gone for a while because of concussions, but you know, the best he's been since his like one more match world heavyweight title. Basically, since that series of matches with Randy Orton. That if you've ever listened to Edge and Christian's podcast, they mention almost every other episode, and I've only listened to a handful of episodes, and I can tell you that in every single one it came up. And he just is so proud of those matches.
And apparently Randy was very instrumental in making sure Christian looked good in that feud too. So good on everybody involved in that.
Even I listened to the one Randy was on, and they had to have him talk about it. Where he's just like, "Yes, you are." He's like, "I don't want to admit this because you're not gonna shut up about it, but yes, you are that good." Like, and we all agree you are that good of a wrestler. And it's just, I just love to see him here. But we could move on. Like I said, I'm willing to get. I'm still invested. I'm still giving this story a chance. But what happened after this?
We had a backstage segment where the losing members of the Not Jericho Appreciation Society were accompanied by Anna Jay, who has a match later in a women's triple threat match. She talks as they're all bickering. Anna stops them and she says how sick and tired she is of all the infighting and everybody feeling like they're out for themselves, and she doesn't feel like she can rely on them. She questions if they're going to help her or not, and they all agree that they will be there for her. As she's speaking, Cool Hand Ange is interrupted by a phone call from his love interest, Ruby Soho. She asks if he'll be in her corner regardless, and he says family first, and that's the end of it. I just want to say something really quick because I read something online that I've been wrestling with. Somebody said Julia Hart is everything they hoped Anna Jay would be. And I think Anna Jay still has a future where she could get a lot better. I thought this promo that she cut was probably the best she sounded with a microphone in her face since she's been in the company. And I had so much hope for her. And then she rolled somebody up in the match, and it immediately was a rope break because she didn't know how to properly roll them up. And I was immediately shot back down in all of my hope. So very up and down night for Anna Jay, but interesting segment to build some tension going into the triple threat later on. Anything you want to say about it, or just move on?
No, just move on. You spent a lot of time on it.
Fair enough. We have our next Continental Classic match of the night as Roosh takes on not world champion Jay White. This was an aggressive match. I think the last time these two guys wrestled was on New Japan Strong before Jay made it over to AEW officially. And I have very conflicting feelings about Roosh. I think with the right opponent, he could have a very good match. But there are times I think he cares way too much about making himself look good to have a great match. Jay definitely needs a little bit of rehabilitation after losing to MJF in what was to apparently a very controversial finish to a lot of fans who watched it. When you watch it, let me know.
I mean, I'm not gonna watch it, but I don't think it's necessarily the finish. I think it's just everything about the match.
I've seen a lot of people upset specifically with how little it took to put him down.
A 30-minute match, that seems like a lot to put someone down, but all right.
I agree. I don't think Jay fans have anything they need to worry about. I think he's fine.
Besides who they choose to like so much,
I know he's no Juice Robinson to you.
He's not. He's like the second best guy in his faction, which is still pretty good, I guess. But
Yeah. But another interesting match, because again, we had the first match had 2 heels going against each other, and this match followed suit. 2 heels. Now, granted, one of these heels is definitely way more over than the other, but 2 very interesting styles. Rush definitely wrestles a strong style of sorts, and Jay White is a very, like I said before, he wrestles a very smart matchup. It feels like when he's wrestling, he's playing chess. So, very strong matchup that ended with a low blow as the referee was blinded, with White hitting a low blow onto Rush and then hitting the Blade Runner for the 1-2-3. What does it say about you as a heel if you get out-heeled by your opponent?
you're a little bitch, and you shouldn't take yourself so seriously.
Valid.
I think my main gripe with this match is the people in it. But my secondary gripe with this match is the low blow. Because the way it was set up, why did Jay turn around to low blow him? Why didn't he just do the back kick low blow that you do when the ref in that exact spot? There's a way to do it. You just lift the back of your leg. It's like a classic. Why turn around? And it didn't look as good that way.
He wanted to punt it. He wanted to hit the field goal.
I just think it was a silly way to frame it. Otherwise, I don't give 2 shits about this match, and I am more than ready to move on whenever you are.
No, that's fair. But now coming out of this second match, we have Swerve Strickland with 3 points. And yes, guys, winning a match gets you 3 points. Losing a match gives you 0 points. You don't lose points for losing these matches. You simply don't gain any. So now we have two ties, as Swerve and Jay White are tied at 3 points apiece, and Jay Lethal and Rush are tied at 0 points apiece. We move on to what was, I think, one of the more creative segments I've seen in a very, very long time, as we had Toni Storm's acceptance speech after winning the AEW Women's World Championship this past Saturday at the pay-per-view. I love that. I love how committed they are to this gimmick. I love how creative they're being with this gimmick. I've heard that RJ City is playing a very big part in the telling of this story, which kind of makes sense with how involved he's been in it, as RJ City and the remarkable Renee Paquette were on the ramp getting ready to present the award of the AEW Women's World Championship to, they had an envelope and everything, and that person turned out to be Toni Storm. The entire arena turns to black and white as she comes out, reads a speech thanking all the people she needs to thank, and then being handed the title by her biggest fan, Mariah May. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I am falling more and more in love with this gimmick each week, and I'm already very in love with it. Danny, what did you think of it? I know you got to be happy Toni won the title this Saturday.
Oh, I'm thrilled, and I'm sorry that I fell asleep before the pay-per-view ended, and I'm sorry that because of that I wasn't on the pod. I'm the most sorry because I didn't get to bully Rev, because obviously Sheeta was always going to lose because she's a transitional champion. That's all she's ever going to be, unfortunately.
Don't say that.
Included her first run. It was a transitional run. It just took a long time because of the pandemic.
No.
If the pandemic ended sooner for them, she would have lost it sooner.
Oh my God. Rev is somewhere watching Shrek, maybe at this point Shrek 3, and just very sad.
Oh God. Well, that's what you get for spending time with your family, which again we don't condone here on the Mark It Down podcast unless your family is Christian. And by Christian I mean Christian Cage, obviously not religious. So I feel like I've just said, I've ran a gambit real quick right there, which I didn't say anything bad right there, but okay, to get back on track.
I gotta shut this out. I'm sorry, producer boy. It's too distracting.
Oh, the Shrek, yeah. Oh, the
Yeah.
Shrek filter stuff. I was a fan of this. I actually wish there was more to it. Um,
Yeah.
you're crazy. Yeah, James, you're being a little crazy right now.
I'm a
Maybe
crazy
take it
boy.
down
I'm
a
sorry.
notch, okay?
Relax.
Loosen up a bit, okay? Just
If
like
I had a
loosen up a
button,
bit.
no, I'd be unbuttoning it. Okay.
But anyway, I was a fan of this. I actually wish they did more. I wish it was more over the top, and I wish there was a red carpet earlier, and they had like a couple other women, like, and someone goes up to him, oh, what are you wearing tonight? And then they could, say whatever brand, they could even be cheeky and just be, oh, AEWshop.com, or they could have Chris Statlander being like, oh, I'm wearing purple Cobras, from Globo Gym. They could have, they could have really hammed it up even more. Which is, if it was like, not the women's division, they would have got more time for this. But it's AEW, and we're making some progress, hopefully. But it is what it is right now. But this was fun. I wish there was more to it. I wish it was longer. I just wish, because I like her acting surprised, them acting like, and the winner is, when it's like that we already know the results of the match. It's very good stuff on paper. The acceptance speech, there's always someone that falls, going on and off stage. She hit that note. I didn't prepare anything. Meanwhile, she has a note in her hand. All of that works. It's all good. I needed more of it. That's the only thing, is I needed more of it. Even if they did like an in memoriam, and they had like Sheeta and like Brett and like past champions and stuff.
That would actually be really good.
There's so much this could have been, like, just as long as the MJF Cole segment. And I'm not saying, she deserves that much time, because MJF is, face of the company, proven ratings draw level, but Tony Storm bumped some numbers too for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So, this could have been more. That's how much I liked it and the idea of it. But I'm super into this. And all joking aside, Rev, because I know you're listening despite watching Shrek, the right person won for the sake of the division. Sheeta is great. She is not going to move the division forward. And in both cases, and the only other gripe is that I wish we had more follow-up on the other women's title match from the pay-per-view. Putting the title on the strongest characters, the ones who are the most over, is good. And yes, a lot of strong characters don't always need titles, but when you need to bring up a division, you put the titles on the strongest characters. I'm a big fan of what they've done during the pay-per-view to give me some faith for the first time in a while that we got something cooking here in the women's division, truly.
I stand by what I said for the last few weeks and what I said following the pay-per-view. While you could argue that Tony's character didn't need the championship, the division needed Tony to have the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have been fine, maybe better if she didn't win it, but she's not hurting now that she's champion. As shown tonight, they were able to turn what could have been a nothing thing into a very fun segment, a very creative segment, while also pushing her storyline forward a little bit. Because as she accepted the championship and she's reading that speech, she had a line saying how she knows that there are all those little Tony Storms out there in the back or out in the crowd who want to be her. But they can't, because this is her time and this is her spot, and they will not take it or make it.
And Mariah May made a little face with that.
So we're 2 weeks into that combination, and it's already the cracks are there. So
yeah, I would say the seed was planted for that. I don't think that's coming anytime soon, but
no. But once those seeds are planted, the fans are waiting. So I think this was the right move. Sheeta, there is a lot of other places they could fit her, and there is a lot of other things that she can do. Let's see if they will. But hey, she is the first 3-time women's champion in AEW's history. She just so happened to lose it to the second person to be a 3-time champion in AEW women history. But let's see how that will progress. And I'm interested. So as her speech was over and as her segment was ending, she is interrupted by Sky Blue's music. Sky Blue, who lost in the women's triple threat for the TBS championship on Saturday. And she just so happens to be in another triple threat now. But as she's coming down,
can I just say she looks at the title a bit and looks at Tony, and that's a great filler. It's dumb because she keeps losing matches, so for her to go against the main champion is ridiculous. But we'll move on for that. I'm not going to waste time complaining about that because I want to waste time instead talking about how much I liked that triple threat on Sunday, and I thought that was a really, really fun match that never slowed down and was one of the better women's pay-per-view matches they've had in a long time. So, kudos to that match. I thought everything about it was great. I thought the way they protected Chris in the finish was great. I think going with Julia is a good move. And I think Sky Blue her time is coming in 2024. So we had a triple threat for no reason other than to combine the two stories, and then have Sky Blue there. So it really didn't need to be a triple threat, but Sky Blue needed a win, I think, and that's good. But this also could have just been a singles match between Ruby and Anna Jay.
Yep.
You didn't have to force, but I didn't mind it. I didn't love it per se. I'd rather have had a stronger follow up on the TBS title. Than this. This could have been the Collision match. Instead, I'm sure we'll get the TBS title stuff on Collision.
Ironic because this is the TBS show and Collision is the TNT show.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But it was an okay match, not the smoothest. You complained about that Anna Jay pin, and Anna Jay has her moments.
She does. I have faith in her she's still so young. And I think I've seen the improvement. She was just heavily derailed by the passing of Brody Lee. The entire Dark Order was, but you could tell she was a project that was going to keep getting better. And when he passed, it just changed the trajectory of what they had planned for her.
Yeah, which is fair because the reason Julia Hart is where she's at is because of her involvement with the House of Black.
Absolutely.
She wouldn't have got there with the varsity losers, who I think are dead now. I don't know where they are.
Griff is wrestling in Ring of Honor.
Sure, why not? And then what's the worst guy of the two somehow doing?
You watch NXT more than I do.
I haven't watched since October 24th.
Since Becky lost the title.
Yeah. That was it. What the fuck am I gonna keep watching?
You were absolutely you were waving the NXT flag so proudly.
For 1 month.
The show ain't that bad. I'm enjoying it. I'm done.
Yeah, no, that's it. I was enjoying it, but the reason I was watching is gone, so I'm not gonna keep watching. It's fine, but. It was a nice little taste. And I feel like I could have compared that earlier, but that title reign did, more for the women's division there than,
someone else's.
Yeah. Or just a lot of things going on there. But we'll talk about that on our prediction show, maybe. But so the match was fine. It was all more shenanigans. I realized that Ruby and Saraya lost to Shida and Statlander and fucking Rampage in a tag match because of the Angela Parker Ruby Soho storyline, and I feel like that's a waste of Rampage. Saraya's only lost twice.
Yeah.
And one of those times was on Rampage. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That felt really silly.
Did she take the pin?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. That's what I mean by she's literally been pinned twice, both times by Shida. Which I'm sure makes Rev happy, but that felt like a waste. Why do that on Rampage? Do that on fucking Collision. Granted, Collision's the same day as Rampage was that day, but I don't know. It felt weird. But do you have anything to say about this? I feel like there's nothing to say about this storyline. I mean, I'll hear it out because I care about. I'm glad Ruby's doing something. It's a non-title storyline. And it's going to lead to her versus Saraya.
the one thing I really enjoyed that I genuinely forgot this. I still don't even really recall it after being reminded of it. But apparently Ruby and Anna Jay were teaming up together prior to Anna Jay joining the Jericho Appreciation Society.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I'll take your word for it, but commentary said it. And it's like, good for them for acknowledging wrestling history. You know, I mean, AEW always does that, but like, good for them for acknowledging even, I guess, the obscure stuff that nobody cares about. But that happened, and they played on that history, I guess, for this matchup.
Why was it a triple threat?
I mean, maybe so both women could still lose.
But like,
maybe it could have been a count out double loss instead for if it was a singles match. I don't know. But you know what? Sky Blue needed a win, and I
what
guess
kayfabe justification is there for a triple threat match if it's not a title match or a contenders match? You don't just have random triple threat matches. Like, it has to be for something.
None of this made sense. Am I happy that 3 women got to wrestle on the show tonight as opposed to 2? Sure. Would I have appreciated any sort of justification? Absolutely. But I'll take what I can get. I want the other dude to be solo.
Oh, sorry. I was more offended. Get rid of the TBS title.
Yeah,
no, it's serving a purpose. What are you talking about?
Eric, do you recognize that AEW has as many titles as WWE across 3 shows? Like, just let it be, bro. It's not that big a deal.
No, I mean, no. The title thing is a big deal, but not the women's ones. They have 2. They have the 2 titles.
What men's title would you get rid of?
I
think there's only one.
The Triple Crown. All the ROH ones.
No, ROH doesn't count. ROH shouldn't be highlighted on AEW, but those titles shouldn't be like.
I don't want to say it right now. Trios titles.
Yeah, I knew that's really the only answer, but it's the worst one for you at this moment.
No, the worst one would be the International for me at this moment. But
fair. But you value Orange Cassidy more than the Acclaimed.
It's I don't know. I don't know the answers to that. But I value his title reign more than their trios title reign. The Acclaimed should still be tag champions right now, first of all. But like, you know, I'm past that. But yeah, I guess we get rid of the trios title.
I want the other dude to be solo. Which dude? Do you want
Cool Hand Ange? Or I guess he wants. Yeah, he wants Matt. I mean, he is great. He was the best part of the Jericho Appreciation Society by far.
Yeah.
So that's fair. But I want to move on because I don't want to keep talking.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. We gave this more time than the actual match was. We then have a backstage segment where Wardlow is pumping iron, and he's the remarkable Renee Paquette tries interviewing him. He's very rude to her, and I didn't appreciate that. And he almost blows her off. As they're speaking, they are interrupted by, of all people, AR Fox. He tries to give Wardlow some advice, who rejects him and then promptly headbutts him. I know I've been saying I want Wardlow to be doing a little bit more than he has been doing. I don't want him to just be having these squash matches. But that monkey's paw certainly curled on this one, because he is now, I guess, going to have a mini program of sorts with AR Fox.
So mini program, he's going to beat him like next week, and that's that.
Yeah, I guess so. But this wasn't the direction I intended.
Yeah, I don't care. AR Fox looks like an NPC from San Andreas or some shit. Like I can't take him seriously. And I mean, I really can't take him seriously because of the fucking bullshit with his heel turn and then immediate.
Yeah,
like that was just garbage. And like I understand its circumstances outside of the actual like in-ring stuff that caused that, but like it's just there's no coming back. There's no coming back from that immediately. So,
you still think we're getting the multi-man match with Wardlow in a main event, Eric? I think the time for the multi-man match is past. The majority.
No, I think you could do it at World. I'd rather them do it at World's End than just get another singles match, because I do think that should be a part of this. I do think there's place for the multi-man match so that that's just a different. I know we had the pillar fatal 4-way, but now that MJF's a face, having that peril of losing his title to someone else, pinning someone else, like that's a whole new dynamic that we haven't gotten with face MJF that I'd be very, very interested in. And that's the only way you could have some of these guys in it. Like, you have a multi-man match, you know who's going to be in that shit? Roderick Strong. And you know who's going to be awesome in that match and then probably take the pin? Roderick Strong. And that's perfect. That's the perfect, because Roderick Strong shouldn't get a one-on-one title match against MJF.
Ever.
But he kind of should get a match with MJF because he's one of the parts of this story.
Yeah.
There's so many facets to it. And I do think you throw all those guys in, and then that's him being done with the majority of it. And that's when you either pay off the double stuff or have Swerve beat him. Like, that's...
Do you have Wardlow in that multi-man match? Or do
absolutely.
You have so you don't think Wardlow should get a one-on-one?
You could do a one-on-one, but I mean, not on pay-per-view. That's not...
Yeah, no, that feels more like a winner is coming match.
Yeah, but so does Joe. But that's also because he was the TV main event guy.
Yeah.
I agree. You can have it an elimination chamber type of match. Wardlow's career is over no matter what.
Yeah, as opposed to how flourishing it's been.
Look, they dropped the ball with Wardlow, but Wardlow's not a good ball. So
I think he's a good ball. I don't think he's a great ball right now, but I think he's a good ball.
He's a non-round ball, so he doesn't bounce properly. So it's not entirely
football.
He's a football's dumb. Holy shit, bro! But your ball's not even round. What? Like
I'm just so grateful Rev isn't here.
Your ball isn't even round, bro, and it's so dumb. And we have a football, and a worldwide football, and the hubris to name another sport after it that has so little to do with the feet. Like, it's so.
You want to hear something crazy too? So the fantasy league Rev and I are in, they purposely got rid of the kicker position. So the one position that actually has to do with feet, they got rid of. Even further, taking the foot out of football. Just shameful.
Yeah, and it's just rugby. You know, they're the same sport. I think I don't care about either one, so it's tough to really differentiate. But you know, get a round ball, bro. If you're gonna be a sport with a ball, you know, even a puck's round. Yeah, it's not a sphere, but it's round.
He's got a points thing,
you know.
But moving on to our main event of the night, our final Continental Classic match: Mark Briscoe taking on Jon Moxley in the main event.
I just realized the bumper the producer boy had for the Wardlow.
Wait, what did it say? Wardlow? That's awful.
No, it's accurate. Who the fuck is AR Fox?
But the thing is, he's too loose with it. He called Orange Cassidy a fan earlier.
That's an Xbox tag, AR Fox. That's not a name.
But I'll be honest, this was the one match of the night that I was very disappointed in the finish. I think to start this tournament off, they should have had Mark get the win to get just some surprises going, let everybody know that anything can happen. But Jon Moxley getting the win after a paradigm shift? Or no, yeah.
He had a stomp and then a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
So can I say I kind of agree with you, but I wouldn't have had him beat Mox. I would have switched. I would have had Mox beat Roosh and then Briscoe beat Jay White, because Jay White's a loser anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no saving him.
No, this wasn't me, Danny. This wasn't me.
What wasn't me? What happened? I didn't even notice.
You got removed.
I got removed. Oh, is it because I said that Jay White's a fucking loser and there's no saving?
Yep. It happened again. It happened again.
I'm catering to you as a fan, all right? And all you guys who were crying about Jay White being buried as if he was ever gonna be the guy, bro. Like, get over yourselves. be lucky he even main evented a pay-per-view, okay? Because my guy is he does not have the body of a god. I got to look at it today, and I was like, he's just a guy, um, you know. But I would have had Briscoe beat Jay White and then Moxley beat Roosh. That's it. Because I do agree we needed that shock when this started as predictably as possible. How can you possibly get excited for like the what ifs of this when it started as like boilerplate as possible? Not that any of the matches were particularly bad. I genuinely didn't care for the Jay White Roosh match, but like it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Like none of like, and this match isn't bad because you have two guys who just who are just good at bringing out that animalistic instinct of the crowd who just want to see people hit each other. Like these guys don't have to grapple and have a million counters and do chain wrestling. They can just punch each other for 7 minutes, hit a couple moves, punch each other for another 3 minutes, and then hit like 2 more moves and go home.
Yeah.
Like, and that's fine. But yeah, I agree. I think we needed some sort of spice here to mix things up and have this feel, because otherwise it doesn't feel like a tournament just so far. It just felt like we had matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that feeling will amp up as the tournament continues next week.
But you're right, though. They should have started with that. Why slow build it when you can just come at the gate swinging, especially if you're really trying to make people take this seriously and treat it on the level of the G1.
No, I completely agree. And it's like you said, this isn't to take away from what this match was. This was a fun match. I don't think these two have ever wrestled in a singles match prior or in any capacity before, to my knowledge. And they have very similar styles, very similar, unconventional, both appearances.
And by styles, you mean like the way they dress and stuff?
In every sense of the word. I did like that after the match. Go ahead. What were we going to say?
I was just gonna say we are probably gonna do a live stream after Survivor Series.
Yeah.
I probably will. James hates WWE, so he's probably not gonna do it.
I would love to, but I'll be in a 3-hour time difference than everybody else, so I don't know if I'll be able to.
I don't think time matters.
I mean, I know it's just a construct, but it does weigh heavily when trying to schedule things.
I mean, it is a construct, but it's also like constructed by the sun. So, I'm always in the middle on that. Like, like we made daylight savings and it's a little outdated now, but also the sun dictates time too.
I mean, does it though? It dictates light. It can be the same time of day, even if the sun is in a different position for you.
It still does because it's not there all the time. So there's time where it's there and time where it's not. So it's still,
Yeah, at that time of the day, you just don't have sun. For 3 o'clock for me in New York, I have sun. And that's 12 o'clock in California. You have sun at just a different time.
No, exactly. Position. That's what I'm saying. The nuances of it are the construct, the man-made parts. But the sun still is dictated that it's time, that time has passed.
It's all relative. It's all relative.
To the sun, yeah. I agree. This is why this podcast is great. Like, what the fuck? Right. Do you really just want to hear us talk about the moves they did? No, come on. This is what it's all about.
We get to the nitty-gritty of what makes life interesting, guys. Or mundane, depending on how you look at it. But I enjoyed the follow-up. I like that Briscoe and Moxley had a nice handshake afterwards. It showed that Mox respected Briscoe because he's the one who initiated it. And
I like that too because it's like, bro, you won't shake Orange Cassidy's fucking hands,
but you'll shake Mark Briscoe, right? Yeah. Both. I don't know if Moxley was bleeding. I know Briscoe was, but I'm going to assume Moxley was bleeding because it's Moxley. He's got Ric Flair skin. But good match. I enjoyed the fact that that Briscoe kicked out of the initial paradigm shift. And it took a second one to put him down. So in a way, keeping him looking good in some capacity. But yeah, this was this was the start of the pay-per-view. I not the pay-per-view, the tournament. And I'd argue that the tournament was the least exciting aspect of the show tonight, but it was still very solid. Happy Thanksgiving, Dev. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for celebrating the start of the holiday with us. We hope you have a good one. Do you like Thanksgiving, Danny?
Yeah, I like Thanksgiving.
It's my least favorite holiday.
Why? Because you hate your family? Because I understand. Because family sucks.
One, as a picky eater, I hate it. Two, as somebody who's deathly afraid of turkeys, I hate it.
Which doesn't make sense because you're killing the turkey in this case.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you see the turkey for Thanksgiving dinner, you don't have pieces of turkey like just ready. You have the whole bird on the table. So that's like saying I'm afraid of sharks, but it's okay that I'm next to a giant dead shark. It's still scary.
I mean, if it was cooked dead shark, it's a little different.
Do you know how many deaths are attributed to frozen turkeys? So that means even in death, turkeys are dangerous. So I can't trust the fact that just because it's on the plate.
Okay. I mean, I guess I don't want to start this whole debate, but do frozen turkeys kill people, or do people with frozen turkeys kill people?
I'm not having this conversation because it's dangerous. It is.
Yeah, like frozen turkeys.
Dev, I wish I was crazy. I'm just ahead of the curve on this one.
Man.
Okay, there was a good point in time. No, go away. There was a point in time where I remembered I had memorized all of the turkey attacks in the tri-state area for like a good 3 to 4 year time frame. I've had to separate myself from that because it wasn't doing my mental health any good. But turkeys are the scourge. Oh God!
Look,
what happened there? Turkeys are the scourge of the planet. All right, when the apocalypse comes, turkeys are gonna be the harbinger. Just know I warned you.
I mean, look, I feel like yes, there are a good amount of turkey attacks, but like shark attacks, you kind of gotta understand. You gotta be like, hey, we kill way more of you than you do of us, so it's almost turnabout's fair play. I'm not saying those people had it coming, but people had it coming. Not those specific people, but just us as a human race in general. We've killed so many of them. If they kill a couple of us, that's more than fair.
It's not enough.
The scales aren't balanced. We're still way ahead. They're not emus. We didn't lose a war to them.
But that's like saying that like human life is equal to turkey life. I think
yeah, they are. What have we done to be better than turkeys?
Not be turkeys. I don't even know what that means, Eric.
Like imagine your species is slaughtered constantly, and then the president of another species pardons one of you as a hollow gesture. Then imagine how offended you're going to be by that. Okay.
All I'm saying is there was a good stretch of time where I couldn't watch TNA because every TNA always being on a Thursday, they always had a Thanksgiving themed episode, and they always had somebody, typically for some fucking reason, AJ Styles, dressed in a turkey costume. I just can't support that. I can watch a man drinking the blood of his opponent in a match. I can't watch a turkey. I just can't.
How do you feel about vultures?
Are you asking turkey vultures? Is that where that's leading to?
No. I'm just asking about other large birds.
I mean, I'll worry about it when I'm dead. Like, they're not going to attack me alive.
They're pretty big. I feel like they're more dangerous than turkeys.
I mean, I would rather be in the vicinity of an ostrich than I would a turkey.
I feel like ostriches can be pretty violent too.
Absolutely. But all you got to do is really grab that neck and you're safe. A turkey, you don't know what they're bringing to the table. They're wild cards. They're the wild cards of poultry.
I
They're
feel like
too
I've been
stupid.
like within 10 feet of Turkey multiple times and nothing bad's ever happened.
One time, my friends who know how much I'm afraid of turkeys, we were driving to the movies and we passed by a flock of turkeys, and they stopped the car, unlocked the door, and almost pushed me out. When I tell you, as a grown man, I started crying. I have no shame in it. I recognize the true threat of the world. I do. I do. And when the rest of the world catches up, I'm not going to say I told you so, because we're all part of the same team here. But I did know.
I'm on
And
Team
I did
Turkey,
tell
so I don't know what team
you.
you're on.
Jesus. Well,
Look,
you know.
look, okay, we're animal rights people over here.
Oh, we
And
are. We are. Absolutely.
hypocritical ones because I eat meat, but like, you know, if a turkey kills me one day, that's fair.
God, I legitimately don't think I could think of right now in this moment a worse way to go out than a turkey killing me. I know I will piss myself if a turkey runs at me, like knife in hand, just ready to down my shit. But we have certainly strayed far and off from the end of this show, which is over.
Yeah, have a good night, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, overall, what did you think of the show, Danny?
I'd probably give it like 3 out of 5 turkeys. What about you?
I hate you.
Did turkeys have anything to do with it, Eric?
Good God. Anyway, I enjoyed the show.
Both of my grandmas are dead too, by the way. Just I don't know if we're all like sharing, but you know,
I'm seeing my grandma tomorrow for Thanksgiving. But
of course, you and Rev and your fucking families. My God.
I thought the show was fine. It's definitely a start of a new era post pay-per-view. You know, they very clearly had a
you
nice
really are
start.
the crazy one, man. The only one with alive grandparents.
And I'm very grateful for it. I love that woman dearly. But I thought the show did a good job of setting us to move forward post pay-per-view. And I guess I'm gonna have to try and watch Collision, even if I'm not gonna be able to enjoy it. But I definitely won't be around for the pay-per-view on Saturday. But I enjoyed Dynamite. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to how this tournament continues. And I'm enjoying the fact that they're amping up the devil stuff with MJF. So good things all around in AEW right now. Not post-Punk, though, because he's the devil.
So
buddy,
how did you feel about in like kindergarten and stuff when they would make you draw a turkey with your hand?
So apparently the turkey fear wasn't an inherent thing. It came out eventually. I don't know when. There was definitely not an incident or anything that caused it. There was no, this is what happened, and now James is afraid of turkeys. It's just something changed that I guess like you ever like it's that scene in Wizard of Oz where you go from the black and white to the color. That's where I am now. Like I see the light, I see the world as it should be, and I understand the true threat of what turkeys represent.
Wait, let's play a quick game. Have I seen that movie you just named, The Wizard of Oz? Yes or no?
Please say yes.
Is that your guess?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Thank God. Thank God. I don't agree, but most people say that's the best movie of all time.
I mean, I think it's one of the most important movies of all time. Probably not best, but I mean, I won't deny the importance of it.
Yeah.
You know, hey, how many movies have people hung themselves in the background of, you know?
Urban legend.
All right, yeah, well, I believe it. It's too late. We've gone too far down the path. But anyway, on this note, I guess. Yeah. Okay, show.
Follow us here. We would love it. We love talking wrestling and apparently all different things here on the podcast. You know, hit that like that way. Because you know the algorithm's important.
We get the gist.
Yeah. If you like us, check us out on social media. Danny posts some great stuff. He ignores when I send him stuff now. He doesn't post the things I send him anymore.
What are you talking about?
Sent you a few things in the chat that you have absolutely not posted. The world is being kept from my creative genius, or maybe you're protecting them from it. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook, follow us. My aunt's cousin and her wife and uncle here. That's good, man. Enjoy being around the family.
Happy Thanksgiving, John. Good night, everybody.
But yeah,
enjoy
guys,
all our content.
Enjoy all of it. Follow us everywhere you can. I'm James Gisanti. That's Danny Hernandez.
Turkeys rise up.
Nope. Have a good night.
Turkeys.